difficult integration at the moment for AT&T, what with Time Warner. What have they been perhaps able to get away with so long that an activist hasn't come in here sooner?
Well, it's really interesting, the timing, because obviously this stock has historically underperformed. But over the past 6 months or so, AT&T has been doing all of these things, a lot of these things that Elliott has actually outlined in its letter that it should be doing. So one of them is, selling non-core assets, cutting debt, focusing more on the core operations. Some of those things they're already doing. And also in the last earnings, Randall Stephenson, the CEO, alluded to buybacks. And, investors obviously always love that.
Yeah, so the stock responded positively to the news, but certainly we've heard, as you mentioned, indications that AT&T was moving in the direction of some of Elliott's suggestions anyway. If AT&T takes up the other suggestions, divesting some assets, for instance, who could benefit from a sale of those parts?
It's a little bit early to tell, too early to tell. Dish and DirecTV have both indicated, Dish and AT&T had previously indicated that they would be open to a merger on the DirecTV asset, for example, so that could be a deal that happens. But valuations have been a big problem for AT&T. They've been trying to sell these Latin America assets that Elliott says they should sell. They've tried a number of times, but they just haven't been able to get the valuation that they want. And perhaps that's the biggest issue, is that they bought some of these assets and invested money in them at such levels that it's now hard to claw back some of that value.
I mean, it was quite damning what was said about the fact that AT&T is yet to articulate any strategic rationale for their enormous purchase of Time Warner. They want savings in excess of $10 billion. This all seems quite hard to get. Is there any other activist, any other investor that might come in and start wanting to dine out on these sorts of pushes in that direction, or call for even more?
So one of the tricky things with this stock is that it has a very big retail shareholder base, and that's perhaps another reason why you haven't seen this kind of activity sooner. So it's owned by a lot of passive investors, retail mums and dad type investors who love the dividend, and at the moment it's offering about a 6% dividend yield.
Not to be laughed at when you've got negative rates.
Especially, exactly. So that's one thing that they have to think about. So that's remains to be seen how it kind of plays out.